took me 10 years to explore that part of familiar spirits and sorcery and witchcraft, all in the name of being African and having an identity in your ancestors and honoring your ancestors simply based on the fact that you're black, simply based on the fact that you're African.
Nowadays the devil is working overtime when it comes to deceiving people, and it's astonishing how much he's willing to do in order to make sure that a lot of people perish with him in hell. And on today's episode, we are reacting to I think her name is Sphezi, something like that. She shared a very interesting testimony about ancestral worship and African spirituality. So I want us to go through that video and react to it. And yeah, without any waste of time, please subscribe, um, like the video, share the video with others so that many souls can be saved. And yeah, let's go.
Here I was growing up knowing that the source of my existence, the source of who I am as a black person is based on my ancestral line. And I was incredibly proud of being African, especially with the context of being previously colonized, where it is believed that when we were colonized as Africans, that's when the religion of Christianity was introduced to Africans, and as a result, a lot of Africans sort of lost their way of being in the context of being black people who honor their ancestors and honor the black God that we've always believed in. It was believed that the colonizers kind of programmed us into believing into this white Jesus.
Yeah, this takes us back to when I said that guys like Joshua Mabonga are out there spreading lies. That false information which is being spread by guys like Joshua Mabonga and what is this other guy's name? Abalo or something like that. I can't even read his name properly. They are more like doing what they say Christianity has done to people. They are more like brainwashing people. So they are telling you that you were brainwashed, but they are brainwashing you.
I think for me, it started with questions that no one really knew how to answer. For example, why was I always filled with so much fear whenever these spirits would be around? Even though I would try so much to ignore that nagging fear in my heart, why am I afraid? I can't explain this feeling that I have, but I'm starting to be afraid of my own thoughts because I was under the impression that these spirits are able to listen to my thoughts and read my mind.
Now, one thing you have to understand about fear, because she says that she was always in fear. So the truth is, you obey what you fear. So when these demons come and be like, if you do not do a ritual for us, your mother is gonna die. The fact that that you fear seeing your mother dying, they come and be like, if you do not do this, that is gonna happen to you. If you do not do that, that is gonna happen to you. So that fear drives you towards obedience. Now, somebody might mention the fear of the Lord. Now, the Bible says that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of all wisdom. The fear of God is not the same as the fear of these things, right? Now, these things threaten you, saying that if you do that, this one is going to die. If you do that, you're going to lose a job. But in terms of the fear of the Lord, what it means is that if you know that you have the presence of God with you, you know the kind of peace that you have with God, right? Now, I fear losing the presence of God. I do not fear that God is going to kill my mother. But I fear that if I depart from His presence, I'm not gonna feel the same joy that I feel when I'm in His presence. So, yeah, let's go on.
And because you're depending on your ancestors as a source of life, a source of provision, a source of breakthrough, a source of success, you're expected to honor them and show up for them in different ways. And in my particular experience, it was just constant sacrificing of goats. And they'd always just be like, okay, things aren't going well. Usman Bani can't find a job, or I'm finding a job and I'm not staying in these jobs. Why? What's happening? And the same answer would sort of pop up. Oh, we need a goat for this. We need a goat for this. And we'd sacrifice so many goats. But at the frequency of how we were slaughtering these goats versus the breakthrough that we're experiencing in our lives, it's a gap. There was a huge gap. And those were some of the questions that I was asking myself, like, why so much blood? What is it about this blood that, because they would specify that when you slaughter the goat, we need to see the blood spill. That's the most important part. And you would need to collect the blood as well and then take it to the, what's it called in English? Shrine. Shrine.
This is the point where you have to understand the significance of the blood of Christ. So in African spirituality, you are the one who buys goats, you are the one who slaughter cows, you are the one who sacrifices. But when you come to Christianity, you see God being the one who sacrifices. We see Him sacrificing His own Son in order to reconcile with us. So we must be privileged because as there's only one sacrifice that happened and it redeemed all of us. When you read in the book of Colossians 1 verse 20, it says that, and through him God reconciled everything to himself. He made peace with everything in heaven and on earth by means of Christ's blood. So these ones, they are sacrificing. You are the one who keeps on sacrificing. Each and every time there's a goat needed. But for us Christians, a sacrifice has already been done. So tell me who's being brainwashed here. Tell me who's being played with here. But anyway, let's go on.
Um, Another big part that would fill me with so much fear was the constant threats that these spirits would always, kind of throw out, that if you ever leave this path, then we will destroy your life completely. If you ever don't do this or don't slaughter this goat, we're going to destroy you. If you ever not do this, there was always that threat at the back of my mind that if I ever go out of my way and not do what they tell me to do and not be who they tell me to be, there is going to be hell to pay. There's going to be consequences in my life, and they're the ones that are going to put me in it, and they're the only ones that can put me out of it.
The crazy thing about what she's saying is that it sounds like I don't know how to put it. It sounds like, have you ever been in a toxic relationship and just because of that person you are in a relationship with, no matter how toxic they are, you do not want to leave because of they provide for you. Another thing is that they manipulate you and they gaslight you. So you're told that, yeah, this life is hard. Begezela. Hang in there. Begezela. Alright. In Jesus, the sacrifice has already been done. And you don't have to slaughter yourself. You just surrender your desires and that's all. But anyway, let's go on. Still a long testimony.
I had a friend at the time, and she was like, "Do you know about familiar spirits?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "Familiar spirits and sorcery." And she was like, "Do you know that there are spirits that will monitor. That's why they're called monitor spirits. They'll monitor your generation, and they'll come through and present themselves as though they are your ancestors, but in actual fact, they're demonic spirits.
I remember this show on, I think it's Moja Love or Mzansi Menjik. I'm a person who does not watch a lot of TV, and this show was called Dlozlam. I remember telling people that this lady is kind of practicing sorcery. And they're like, what is sorcery? Because people do not know. People, because of I came and told you the truth about something, you are like, this person is the man of God. This person speaks to God. Familiar spirits and monitoring spirits and what is it called? Divination spirits. The minute they get in contact with you, they trace your history, your family background, and they come back with information. The book of First John chapter 4 says that do not believe every spirit, but test spirits to see whether they are from God. Just because of you told me my number plate, just because of you told me where I stay, just because of you said you were walking in the realm of the spirit and you walked into my house and I was sleeping, then I should be alarmed. Why did you walk in my house in the realm of the spirit while I was sleeping? But we are not there. We're still on the testimony. We are not there.
I I couldn't believe that she even had the courage to say that, because she was just confident about it. She's like, yeah, do you think it's possible that we could actually be talking to demons, whereas we think that we're talking to our ancestors? And she's like, notice how abantu abahlezi bayinsinzi zamadlozi bayahlupheka. It's not just us, but most people abayenza izinto zamadlozi bayahlupheka. And uzobona nje izinto zingahambi kahle, it's because of the influences. You're under the influence of these demonic entities that are in your life. And you think that you keep slaughtering these goats for your ancestors and you want to honor them. But have you ever considered that they're not who you think they are? You know, even the ancestors that we do know of, like one of the ancestors that I was kind of in knowledge of was, I'd say, a great great grandfather of mine. And what I knew about him was that he was an absent father when he was alive. And for some reason, this ancestor who was an absent father when he was alive is now forcing his child to honor him, ngembuzi and cows and all of that. And make it make sense.
Okay, so let me clarify this, right? Most people wanted to bite us Christians when we usually say the things you're talking to are demons. Whatever it is that you're in contact with, when you do ancestral worship, that's demons. Does this mean that your great grandfather is a demon? No, he is not. The Bible tells us that there is no communication between the living and the dead. And the Bible tells us clearly that do not communicate with the dead. So, your great grandmother is sleeping peacefully. We don't know if she is heaven or hell, we don't know. But she hears nothing that you're asking from her, right? She hears nothing and she does not communicate with you. Can you go and clean your grandmother's grave? There's no problem with that. You can go there, clean it, it's fine. You can hang your grandmother's picture in your room, it's fine. There's no problem with that. But the minute you get in contact and saying, grandmother, can you please protect us from this? Grandmom, can you please protect that? Can you please protect us from this? Can you please open up our doors? Can you please make me pass at school? At that time, she was in the apartheid era. She did not even go to school. How is she going to make you pass at school? Ah, that's where the problem is. So you have familiar spirits, divination spirits, water spirits. You have um whatever spirit that is there, waiting for you to say something like that. But just because of they have traced your family history, they come to you as your grandma. Not your grandmom, it's a spirit, a demon that is coming to you as your grandmother, but it's not your grandmother. So if you were to ask me, when you are engaging in ancestral worship, are you talking to demons or your ancestors? You are talking to demons. Your ancestors are sleeping. Your ancestors are hearing nothing. You can come at me, right? You can swear at me in the comment section. I'll take that. Peacefully so. I'm not bothered. I did this knowing that you might come for me. But this is what I'm going to say to you. At least it came from somebody who has the experience, right? Somebody who has the experience. And I'm glad that she went into details and explained some of these things by herself. I cannot react to the whole video, but the parts that I highlighted are the ones that I was interested in. I'm gonna leave the link in the comment section. So check out the video. It's actually two parts. So you can go through this one and then go through the next part. This one was part one. There is part two. Anyway, so if you find our content edifying to your life, please do me a favor, do us a favor, and help us grow this channel. Make sure that you click like, make sure that you comment, make sure that you share, make sure that you subscribe, and you hit the bell notification gang. We need that. And yeah, up until the next episode, God bless.